Hey guys, Mr. Ziegner here. We're going to take a look at graphing some equations. As you can see, we're going to be using Google Sheets to do that. So how about I actually rename the file Graphing Equations. Alrighty. And down here, we don't need the entire spreadsheet, so I'm gonna actually zoom into the spreadsheet a little bit. That'll make things a little bit larger for you following along at home, and also even be a little bit easier for me to see what's going on. All right, so what I want to actually do is create three different types of equations. This is mainly geared for middle school and beginning high school students. So we're going to create a table and a graph for a linear equation, an exponential equation, and then also a quadratic. Then you can look back at this, and all you'd have to do is change the functions to whatever problem you happen to be working on, and you'll get an immediate table and a graph. So let's get that set up now. So we start with the linear equations. So down here where it says sheet 1, we're actually going to rename that, and let's just call this linear equation. Okay, there we go. Press enter and it renames this page. Now let's come up, let's give it a color. And again, this is mostly geared at my students in my computer class because I want them to learn how to do all these things. Let's just pick a color. How about red? There we go. So you can see a little red bar down there. All right, since I picked red, I'll try to do everything with red here on this page to kind of color coordinate. How we start with a skill that I like to teach where we're merging cells. So I'm going to select A and B1. We're going to merge those together. Oh gosh, here we go. Let's make up an equation. How about y equals, negative 3x plus 2. Whoops. Come on, Zig, plus 2. There we go. And then down here, this will be our x column, and this will be our y column. How about we do, oh gosh, how about negative 3 for our x's, negative 2, negative 1, about 0, 1, 2, and I guess since we started with negative 3, we'll finish with positive 3. There we go. Now right away, I really want to get all this lined up nicer. You can see the default is to left align the letters and right align the numbers, but I like to center everything. So two ways to fix that. I'll either hit Control and then A to highlight the whole spreadsheet, or my favorite one is if you click this little box right up here above the number 1 and to the left of the A. That also selects the entire spreadsheet. So let's pick a new font, make it look interesting. How about this Josephine Sands? Kick up the size a little bit, maybe 12. That looks nice. If you get a thin font, you could always hit bold, but I think I'm okay with just regular. And then right here is our horizontal alignment. We could center that. There we go. That looks so much nicer. And one thing here, if I actually spread these cells out, you can see the numbers and words are at the bottom of each cell. See down here? You can actually vertically align that too. So right up here, right next to horizontal alignment, and there's the vertical alignment, and put it right in the middle. Of course, if I actually hit Control Z a couple times, you can see that really you can't tell that the numbers and words, the functions and the numbers are at the bottom of the cell here. Let me try to change it again. Does it look like it moves at all? Oh, maybe a little bit. All right, so let's get this table going. How about we, let's make this look nice. How about a little fill color? Since I'm using reds, we'll use like that might be a little too dark. There we go. How about a slightly lighter color for the X and Y? That looks nice. Let's put border boxes around all this and make it look like a proper table. So here's the borders. And since again, I'm using reds right over here, once you hit borders, we're over here on the right, we can pick our color for our borders, and then maybe even the style change. Like the default is the thin line, but I always have my students change it to any of the others, whatever you like best. So I'm going to do the double line. And then right up here at the top left, we hit all borders, and there we go. We have our dark red borders. Okay, so I wanted to do the equation y equals negative 3x plus 2. So what we want to do now here is come into the y column right next to the negative 3. All right, so here we go. The first thing we have to do is actually create the equation that we're going to use. So every function or equation starts with an equal sign in Google Sheets. So we would have equals, what was it, negative 3. Negative 3x means negative 3 times the variable So over here is our variables for x. So I'm just going to click right here, and it should paste, well, what would that be, A3 over there? Okay, but it's times. So uniquely, the asterisk is used for times. So now I'm going to click here, and it should paste A3 over here. There we go. So this -3 up here times x, and our first x is this -3, which is in A3. What was the rest of it? Plus 2. So plus 2. There we go. 11? Is 11 right? Let's check that. What is -3 times -3? Well, 9. 9, right? And 9 plus 2 is 11. Perfect. There we go. So I'm just going to press enter, and look at what Google has done for us. It's already figured out what I want to do for the rest of these. So it's like, hey, do you want to keep doing that down the rest of the column you just made? That's a cool feature. Whoever programmed that in, kudos, thumbs up that you thought of that. So we could just hit the check mark and it would automatically be there. But what if you don't get that pop-up for whatever reason? Well, look at that. I just made it go away, didn't I? So what you would want to do in case you don't get that pop-up, you just go back to the one you finished after you verify that it's right. And we already figured out that -3 times -3 plus 2 is 11. So there's a box right here. Do you see this little box? And as soon as I hover over the box in this cell in the bottom right corner, there we go. It turns into a plus sign, the cursor. So drag that down to the last cell, let go, and bam, there it is again. Beautiful. All right, next thing is a graph. So let's get a graph in here. But what do I want to graph? I want to graph this table right here. So I'm just going to highlight everything from A2 down through B9. I guess it wouldn't have hurt if I grabbed this also up here, the equation. But I'm just going to have that be sort of the title at the top. All right, so now I come over here on the top, insert chart. So hopefully Google's going to figure out the correct, yeah, that's exactly right. That's the very one I wanted. So I'm just going to drag it up here. Let's put it right next to the table. How about we resize it so it's the same height? Maybe even spread it out a little bit. There, looks pretty nice, except I want to do more. I want to take it a step further. So those settings are right over here, and all my students, I'd want you to do this also. So we hit customize. The first couple changes are here under chart style. Let's throw a background color behind the graph instead of this boring white. Now again, I'm using red, so I want to stick with all my reds here. So how about like, I don't know, like a medium reddish color. Ooh, that's a little much. That's a little more gentle little color. Again, changing the font, just so you realize you can change it. Watch how the font changes as I click on wide here. There we go, nice and bold, easy to read. We're going to be hitting some of these right here a little bit later, but we have a nice straight line already. There's no need to smooth anything out. So the next change I really want to do is actually the line. So we have a blue line here. It'd be nice if it was like a reddish color to stick with my red theme. So that's actually, let me minimize this. That's actually under series. So I come to series and there you go, line color. We don't want the blue. We want to go with a red color. So let me just pick a darker red color. A little darker. That's almost black. Let's back off again. There we go. That still looks red. Now you might think that looks a little thin and it's getting washed out. Barely see it. Well, we're going to fix that. You could change the style of the line. Look at that, dotted lines. Kind of do different things there. A little dashed or dotted line. I'm going to stick with a solid line. But I would like to up the thickness of the line. So let's go with, let's try 4. Oh yeah, nice and bold. Looks good. But we can also put points. What points? Well, the points from our table back here. So I'll leave it on circle, but check this out. There are other choices besides circles. You can play with that. But now since I made the line a thickness of 4 pixels, that's what the PX is. This has to be bigger. So I'm going to go crazy and go all the way up to 14 pixels to see if we can see those circles. Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice, bold circles. And these are the actual points that we created over here in the table. Kind of cool, right? All right, so I'm going to close this down. And anything else I want to change? Oh, how about we, to finish off our red theme, let's put a light red color right here as our fill color. And does that finish that page off quite nicely? Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That takes care of linear. All right, so here we go. Going to hit the plus sign. And there we go. Now we've added a sheet. Now you might think, hey, what happened to all the stuff? Did you delete it? Nope. It's on the previous page right here. So the linear are still there. Now we're going to look at exponential. All right, so I'm going to rename this one Exponential Equation. Looks like I'm putting an S at the end of that. And let's pick a new color. Oh gosh, how about like a, maybe a green. Let's do green this time. So I'm going to put a green color below that. There we go. So now everything I do is going to be in green. Now to speed things up, I'm going to sort of cheat a little bit here. Oh, look at this. I forgot. Let me bring my graph up to the top here and stretch it out a little bit. There we go. I kind of scrolled down and I couldn't see my title up here of what the equation was. There we go. That looks nicer. All right. So what I was saying was I'm just going to copy paste this table. I'm hitting Control C. And I come on over here. All you have to do is click on A1 and Control V. Now you might be thinking, hey, but I thought you were going to do a different equation and you were also going to do green. Yeah, but it was easier to just copy paste the table. Now I can just adjust the colors and the equation. All right. Let's go with greens this time. So how about like, I don't know, a medium green here, slightly lighter green here, and even lighter green here. There we go. We're already looking good. These are all wrong, all these y values. So I'm just going to select them and hit delete. And of course the equation's wrong. So the equation I've picked out for this one is 2 to the x power. So that's what exponential means. Now the variable is the exponent. So check this out. So y equals 2 to the, yeah, that little caret, that little insert. And notice it's even up high also over there. So whatever I type next is automatically considered the variable. So that's going to, I'm sorry, is automatically the exponent. And our exponent in this case is the variable x. Okay, so 2 to the x. Oh gosh, how about plus, I don't know, plus 1? There we go. So y equals 2 to the x plus 1. All right, so now we come here. So we're in our y column. So y is equal to 2 to the x, and these are our x's. So here we go. 2 to the x, but the x is right here where this -3 is. So I'm going to click here and it should paste an A3 right there. Oh, let me try that again. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot the equal sign. That's why it didn't work. So equals to, my bad, to the, now it's going to work, to the x, which is this -3. Yep. And then plus 1. So plus 1. There we go. So 1.125. Alrighty. So again, press enter. Let's see if I get that pop-up from Google again. I did. I did. Now I've already shown you in the previous one how to delete those and then just click on the box and drag it down. So I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm just going to welcome the fact that Google is giving me these answers. But let me try another one out. Let's try the 2 here. 2. Well, what's 2 to the second power? 2 to the power of 2 is 4. And 4 plus 1 is, well, 5. Oh, and there's the 5. So this is clearly right. Google did a good job getting all those answers for me. So I'm just going to hit my check mark, and that's going to speed things up tremendously. Hopefully you will get the pop-up too. All right, time for our graph. So let's see, what was that procedure again? I highlight the whole table, come up to Insert Chart, and there's that exponential function. Yeah, it's not a straight line. We end up getting this curve, that exponential curve. So I'm going to just resize that so it's about the same size. Maybe stretch it out a little bit. Time to make those changes again. But yeah, I like that little curve there, that exponential curve. Come to Customize. There's going to be 3 changes this time. So again, I want to do my background colors. This page is all in green. So let me do a background of green. And a new font. All my students need to change that font also. And this time we're going to do smooth. Now watch, this is going to be very subtle. See how this line actually looks a little jagged between the points? That's because it's connecting those points with straight lines. And that's not what an exponential function actually looks like. It's a smooth curve. So to get that, we want to hit smooth, and Google's going to fix that for us. Now watch, it's very subtle. And you can do it on yours and change it back and forth until you can see that very subtle change. But here we go. If you're watching, are you watching? Here we go. There it is. Nice smooth curve. So we've made those 3 changes. And now the 4th one is the color of the line. Again, I don't want a blue line when this whole page is supposed to be green, right? So I'm going to come to Series and change my line to maybe a darker green. All right, next thing was the thickness. I'm going to take that up to at least a 4. You can even go to an 8. I mean, that's pretty ridiculously huge. I don't like it that much. I'm going to go back to 4. And let's do a different shape this time. How about a pentagon? There we go. And as long as the pixel is set to a bigger size than the line, it's going to, show up and you're going to see those. So let's kick it up maybe all the way to 14. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see my little pentagons. I think there's even hexagons. There we go. So looking pretty good. The only thing I can think of that I didn't do, let me stretch this out a little bit, is, I know what I didn't do. The borders. I didn't change the borders to a green color. They're sticking out like that dark red color. So I'm going to come here to my borders. All I should have to do is change the color to like a dark green, and it's already set to the double line. So there we go. That looks nicer. All right, there's exponential. Moving on to our last one, quadratic. Here we go. So once again, we hit the plus sign. And let's go, I don't know, maybe with blue this time. So I'm going to make that like a nice bright blue. And we're going to rename this quadratic. So U-A-D-R-A-T-I-C. So quad, rat, and then I-C. And this is going to be a quadratic equation. Okay. So I've got my blue color, and everything's going to be blue. So once again, let's copy paste that table. Control C. Whoops, just need to click that. Control V, there it is. Let's start changing our colors. How about like a medium blue? This can be a little bit lighter. And this can be even a little bit lighter. Just working my way down. Looks nice. And then, of course, I'm going to change this right away so I don't forget. Change my border color to, how about a darker blue? There we go. Looking good. Now, of course, we have to delete these because they're wrong. And we have to change this equation. So instead of this time the variable being the exponent, now it turns out the number in front of the exponent is the variable. So let me explain that as I type it. So it's y equals, and you'll get to this towards the end of 8th grade, and then of course in 9th grade in your algebra classes, unless you take algebra in 8th grade. Alrighty, so how about we do, so quadratic just means you're raising a variable to the second power. How we do x to the second power, no, we'll just do a binomial which has 2 parts, not a trinomial which has 3 parts. Let's just do, I don't know, minus 1, little space there, minus 1. So there's 2 parts here, there's 1, there's 1, that's 2 different parts, that's called a binomial. But if I did say x squared minus 2x plus 3, there's 3 parts of that, so that's a trinomial. You'll learn more about that in math class. That's not the point of this video, but here we go. Gonna go right back to y column, which is in cell B3. So here we go, y is equal to x raised to the second power minus 1. So my x is this value right here. So equal sign, then this cell right here, A3, raised to the, so there's our insert to make whatever comes next is the variable, the second power, minus 1. Okay, now I'm getting a little pop-up of 8. Is that right? Let's see here, A3. Negative 3 raised to the second power. Well, that would be negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. And 9 minus 1 is indeed 8. So perfect. There we go. Just going to press enter. Are we going to get lucky 3rd time in a row? Is Google going to fill in the rest of my table? There it is. Perfect. Let's try figuring out one. How about this one right here? 1. 1 to the second power. Well, that's 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. And yep, there's the 0. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to hit my check mark, and that table's done. See how fast that goes? And how quickly you'd be able to change this with whatever quadratic, trinomial, or binomial that your math teacher gives you. All right, so here we go. Going to highlight the table again. Here comes that graph, but you should be getting good at this by now. Insert chart, and there it is. That, my friends, is what we call a parabola. And your algebra teacher will talk more about that when they get there. Let me stretch this out a little bit. That it's somewhere in between like a V and a U shape at the bottom, just to give you a sort of general idea of what these parabolas look like. So linear had a straight line, the exponential had one curve, and now here we have almost like this U or V shape going on. So coming to customize, chart style. What am I using? Blues. So let's go with like a lighter blue color, maybe a little lighter. That's fine. And a new font. Let's smooth this out. Do you see how it's a little jagged here, this line? Again, it's connecting with straight lines to make this curve, but it's supposed to be a nice smooth curve. So we're going to click on smooth and watch that subtle change, which is perfect. That's exactly what it should look like. And then we come down to series. Oh, well, my line's basically already okay, but I like dark blue for my lines. I'm going to go with a real dark navy blue there. Once again, kick that thickness up. For my students, I want 4 or 8. And then pick a shape. Let's try the diamond this time, but let's take it up to maximum. Oh, wait, there was a star? Oh, I like this. Let's try the star. There we go. That's kind of cool. So now the stars represent all the points over here in the table, so you can actually see where these are. For instance, 0, -1 right here. There it is, 0, and then right below the x-axis at -1. There it is. All right, let's close that. And ladies and gentlemen, we've just finished. And that's the fast version of Mr. Zigner's assignment called Graphing Equations, where we've created a linear equation with its graph in one color, an exponential equation in a second color, and then a quadratic function. There we go. That's exactly what I'm looking for to get the A+ in my class. All right. Thanks. I hope everyone found this helpful, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye now.